Bleacher Report gives the Chicago Bulls offseason a D. Let's talk about and grade the Chicago Bulls offseason starting now. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talk. So make sure that you get in tune with us, man. So per Brian Kalbrowski from Bleacher Report, he gave the Chicago Bulls a D+ on their offseason, citing that they didn't do much outside of getting Drummond and bringing in Goran Dragic. He did say that he liked the Dalen Terry draft pick, but the Chicago Bulls didn't do much else outside of that besides signing Zach LaVine. And for me, I understand from the outside looking in why somebody would say that, right? But I also, looking at this as a Chicago Bulls fan, as a Chicago Bulls what would you call me? I don't know. Analyst, I guess. Yeah, Chicago Bulls analyst. Somebody who watches the team game in and game out, right? And you have to look at a bunch of different things when you're taking this grade into account. One, you have to ask yourself, what did we leave last season feeling like we needed? No matter what you say, no matter how you feel, you felt like this Bulls team needed size. The Bulls went out and they got size. And I think that's a big part of going into this offseason. We can argue about the shooting. You know, I feel like Goran Dragic does bring really good shooting. Looking at his splits and stuff like that, you feel good about him coming in. But I think on top of everything else, right, like you also have to look at the fact that you have Zach LaVine back in the building, and you're taking a lot into account, for me anyway, right, because I'm basing it off of the history of the Chicago Bulls. We don't get these guys back. We don't get these guys to re-sign for $215 million. We trade these guys before their contract's up so that we can get capital to rebuild on the next team, because we're not going to be able to re-sign these guys. So I think that it's big, and they get a huge boost in grade for me just for that, right? And so I'm looking at it, I guess, just understanding what's happening and understanding what this team needed, right? I didn't leave last season feeling like we needed this crazy overhaul in the offseason. You know what the Chicago Bulls needed most this offseason? To get healthy. They've done that for the most part, right? We'll see what Lonzo Ball ends up being, but this Bulls team just needed to get healthy. A lot of the issues that we looked at last season that needed to be solved was all health-based. Hey, our bench scoring is one of the lowest in the league. Well, guess what? Our bench is in the starting lineup right now. So for me, if that's a healthy team and that's a healthy starting five, then guess what? My bench is going to score a lot better because I've got Ayo Dosunmu back on the bench who took a step. I've got Kobe White hopefully playing better on the bench because he took a step. I've got Alex Caruso healthy on the bench because he, you know what I'm saying? Like, those are all the different factors that play into it to me, and you're adding to that. So, I mean, I get it, right? Like, you wanted to see the Bulls make this splashy move. You wanted to see them go get this big name, but this is a team that was already really good, and they were ravaged with injuries. And so for me, right, I can't say that a D+ is a fair grade by any stretch of the imagination, because I feel like there's no way you look at this team from last season and say that they got worse. A D is essentially saying you got worse. Like, you lost a piece and you got nothing back, or you got something mediocre back. And so I don't agree with him from that standpoint at all. Now, before I continue with the video, I want to know how you guys feel, man. Let me know in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you as well. What grade would you give the Chicago Bulls offseason to this point? There still could be moves to be made, but I feel like they're pretty stable, right? I'll be talking with you in the comments below as well. Can't wait to hear from you. So for me, right, here's my big thing with it. The Chicago Bulls, to me, I would give them a C+, B- is somewhere in that range, right? Like somewhere dead in the middle, because, right, you didn't make any crazy moves this offseason, but like I said, re-signing Zach LaVine is a big thing. You re-signed the most coveted free agent this offseason, and he never even took meetings anywhere else. So that's a huge thing to start off. And on top of that, you address needs that your team already had. You got your size in there and Andre Drummond. You bolstered up this team, and you've gotten it's not really an offseason move, but you've added size by Marko Simonovic in the offseason, gaining weight. He was already on the team, but he's going to be 240 next year. So you feel like you're a much bigger team, and you can be in the post a little bit better now, especially with Vooch already being there. You feel like you're going to do a lot better in the rebounding battle. You also have to talk about adding Dalen Terry, signing signing, and this is something they didn't bring up, signing the most coveted undrafted free agent to the Chicago Bulls. Hopefully he'll be able to get something. He's going to be on a two-way deal. And for me, right, I'm also taking into account the fact that you got a bunch of guys to sign on at Summer League that could have been on other teams. And guess what? They showed you something. So you've still got options there. When you're talking about a Carlik Jones, you're talking about a McCour Maker, right? Like those are two guys that could be pieces on the Chicago Bulls team in the future if you can get them signed to a Windy City Bulls contract. So for me, right, I'm looking at this Bulls season, not saying that it was extraordinary, not saying that it was a great offseason, right? But we didn't need a great offseason this season. We needed a great offseason last season. Guess what? We had that. We got Lonzo. We got DeMar. We got Zach re-signed this offseason. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, I'm looking at this completely different. I'm saying I expected the Bulls to come into this offseason and not make these huge flashy plays and go sign these big name people. The only thing I said that if you're going to make a move for anybody that was big and flashy was trade half these mugs for Kevin Durant. But that's neither here nor there. It doesn't seem like that's going to happen. So that's fine. It is what it is. But to me, right, like to say that the Bulls got a D, like that's tough. And that's from somebody that got a lot of D's in his life. Like that's tough. You know what I mean? So like for me, I would give them a B- to C+. I'd probably lean more towards the B- because there's so much weight for me put on the fact that Zach LaVine is back in Chicago, because there's so many people. And I know Muzz are going to say, well, he came here and he stayed for the money and he did. There's people that have taken less money to leave. There's players that absolutely have taken less money to get out of the Chicago Bulls organization, or they've said, sign me to this level of contract, trade me over there because I know when I get over there, I'll be able to get to the next level and get a bigger contract. So the whole, like, he signed here for more money, that hasn't worked in our favor in the past. That hasn't worked in our favor. So for me, I'm giving the Chicago Bulls a B- on this offseason because you didn't need a ton and you addressed what you needed. But as always, man, I want to know how you guys feel. Let me know in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you as well. How do you feel the Chicago Bulls did this offseason? Drop your grade in the comments below. I want to hear from you. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us. As always, man, to continue watching our Chicago Bulls content, click the links on the screen or check the links in the description below. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Peace.